Hello, guys. You're done with three papers, you're left with only one, and then group one gets done. I am not going to ask you how these three papers went because you and we both know that what's even more important than what's gone by is what's coming next, right? So we are going to give all our focus, all our attention, all our energy only to what's coming next, and that is 1.5 days and then the taxation paper. Okay, so we are going to put in the best that we can. We've been working so hard since the exams started, day in and day out. We've been going through so much. We're so exhausted, we're so tired, and I know you will give anything at this stage to get a break day. Isn't it? But no, guys, right now is not the time to give up. Come on, let's put in a little more effort. This time for the taxation paper, these 1.5 days, let us give our 200%. We can rest all we want once all these exams are over. We can sleep all we want once these exams are over. So, a little more effort, guys, a few more days. Come on, I think we can do this for ourselves. Right? So, these next 1.5 days, what are you going to do? How are you going to do? What is your priority going to be? What is your strategy going to be? All of that is there in this file that I'm going to be discussing with you right away. Now, when I've prepared this strategy for you, I've put in a lot of thought because I do not want you guys to make a mistake that many times students have made in the past. That is, a lot of times what happens is, especially in these 1.5 days, students prioritize PGBP and capital gains way too much, because of which they sort of compromise on everything else. Know that yes, PGBP and capital gains are important, but your entire question paper is not going to be filled with just PGBP and capital gains, right? So therefore, through this strategy, I'm going to help you balance these 1.5 days in such a way that from that question paper's perspective, we do everything that is required. Okay, now we've already covered a little bit of GST before the law examination. That's going to be a lot of help for us. So we're going to make these 1.5 days work in our favor. How? Listen to me. On the 8th of May, that is this evening, when you're back home after your examination, let's say you start studying at 7, your first slot of 2 hours is just those things that you are really, really good at. So you're going to be doing these three things, which will give you immediately a lot of confidence. It will boost up your confidence. Okay. You start off with your favorite chapter, which is residential status and the scope of total income. You give a little extra importance to residential status of individuals. Under scope of total income, give a little extra importance to royalty, interest, FTS, and also business connection, agent, and all. Okay, this chapter, this residential status and scope of total income, be prepared something easily around 6 marks you can expect in May 2023 examination from this part. Okay, and then basic concepts chapter, this is your tax rates, marginal relief, surcharge rates, 87A rebate, and so on. And finally, chapter 60 deductions. Now, in this 2 hours, the most time taking will be chapter 60 deductions. Do this really well, because this will for sure have a minimum of 3 to 4 marks weightage in your total income chapter, and it may also be a part of your MCQs, and it may also be a part of some other full-fledged question in your descriptive part. So do the deductions part really well. Once you are done with this first slot of 2 hours, you have already completed 10 marks of your question paper. Yes, because residential status scope of total income 6 marks, deductions around 4 marks, you're already done with 10 marks. I haven't even spoken about the basic concepts weightage. Basic concept, your tax rates and all, you'll anyways have to do tax calculations in several questions. So this will anyways have quite a lot of weightage in almost every question. So therefore, your 2 hours, your first 2 hours have already secured 10 marks for you. Okay, that itself will give you a boost of confidence. Now see, know that you have only 1.5 days. Okay, you do not have all the time in the world, right? So do not try to spend too much time on anything. Try your best to do each of these chapters within the given time slots. If you're unable to finish within it, you stop whatever you've done and then you go ahead with the next slot. Okay, do not stay stuck in one particular slot for too long. Make sure you finish everything within the time slots allotted. It will be possible. Just do it with a lot of positivity. Be optimistic. All right, tell yourself nice positive things. Be confident. Have belief in your preparation, guys. You've worked enough. You've worked more than enough. Okay, it will go in your favor. Trust me, it will go in your favor. It will go really, really well. Yes, it will. Okay, so these 1.5 days, do not sit and memorize things, do not sit and mug things up. Instead, whatever you've learned already, so much you've worked hard already, so you're just going to read through, you're just going to glance through, you're just going to refresh your memory. That's it. You're not sitting and learning anything in these 1.5 days. You're just reading through and glancing through. Okay, so by 9 o'clock in the first 2 hours this evening, you're already done with 10 marks. Then at 9 o'clock, you start with your first head of income. You start with your salaries head. Now listen, if you remember for the law paper, I had told you not to spend too much time on videos. I had told you do everything on your own, just meetings chapter alone, do the video I had told you. But here, I will ask you to rely on the video for 3 heads: salaries, PGBP and capital gains. Yes, guys, you heard it right. For these 3 heads, please do the video. I insist. These 3 heads otherwise will end up eating too much time. Okay, these three for these 3 heads, proper detailed videos are available. All right, those videos cover every single thing that you need to know conceptually. Okay, so do those 3 videos for these 3 heads. All right, and nothing else is required. So like for example, for the salaries head, the video is around 3 hours. Watch it in 1.25 speed. I've allocated 3.5 hours, so watch it in 1.25 speed first. Then you must have marked some questions and kept for yourself. So glance through those questions and work out at least 1 or 2 out of those questions. Okay, so with this, you are done with your first day, you're done with today, and then you have the whole of tomorrow. So by the time you go to sleep this evening, you would have roughly completed around 18 marks of your question paper. Okay, which itself will give you a feel good factor, and go to sleep with a lot of satisfaction that you've done the best that was possible. All right, and wake up the next day with a lot of determination to kill it. Okay, so tomorrow is going to be your most important day, and when you wake up tomorrow, you tell yourself, I'm already done with around 18 marks of my paper. Okay, then so what you're going to do, what you're going to do tomorrow morning is that you will start off with GST. So I have allocated 6 hours, 6 to 12, 6 hours I've allocated for GST. You've already done a little bit of GST before your law examination, so quickly revise that first and then finish off the rest of GST in these 6 hours. It is possible. It is possible. Try being as productive as you can. Do not waste one single minute in these 6 hours. Go at a stretch. Take a break of 15 minutes around in between if required. Of course, you will need it. Take a 15 minutes break in between whenever you feel exhausted, and do these 6 hours as well as you can, and do GST as amazing as you can. Okay, so once you're done with this, after this, you take a well deserved half an hour break, and by now, you still have quite a lot of time left, but you're already done with how much? You're already done with somewhere around 58 marks. You're done with 40 marks of GST. You're done with around 18 marks of income tax. You still have so much time left, but you're already done with 58 marks. This is what I call as smart strategy. So at each stage, your confidence will only keep getting better and better. And we need that sort of confidence, especially before a taxation paper. Okay, so once you're done with GST at 12:30, you will again come back to income tax, and now you've just had a half an hour break. You're well charged, and now you can take up one huge chapter under income tax, PGBP. Do not do this chapter with any negativity in your mind. Okay, look at it as an easy chapter. Look at it as a simple chapter, and do it. Okay, so even for this chapter, you can rely on the video. You finish off your entire conceptual learning from this video. Yes, it will be sufficient. Yes, it will be effective. Yes, it will be enough. Trust me. Please trust me, guys, with this. With salaries, PGPP, and capital gains, please do the videos. They will be of immense help for you. Okay, it will get done faster. At the same time, it will get done properly without any compromise. Each and every concept will get covered. Okay, so when you come to this PGBP head, you will be spending around 4.5 hours on this head. You will be watching the video, which is for 4 hours. You'll be watching it in 1.25 speed. Then you'll be glancing through the questions that you've marked, and then you will be working out at least one of those questions. PGBP will majorly be a part of your full-fledged total income question. Okay, so by 5 you're done with one another head of income. 5 to 5:30 you again take a well-deserved break, but by now you are definitely going to feel a little tired and exhausted because you've done GST, then you've done PGBP, you've been doing all big things, heavy chapters. So at 5:30 your next slot will start for 2.5 hours. This slot I've kept it a little light because you've got to feel a little refreshed. You need to relax a little bit. So 5:30 to 8 we'll be doing chapters which are very easy, like a walk in the park. You have your clubbing chapter, your set off and carry forward, exempt incomes, IFHP, IFOS. So these small chapters easily you can finish off in these 2.5 hours. Now see, clubbing and set off put together will be asked in your examination for somewhere around 8 marks. Okay, IFHP you will for sure have another 4 marks question. When I say exempt incomes, I am talking about agricultural income, section 10AA, tax holiday for SEZ units, partial integration method. Do all of this properly. Okay, so this slot, even though it's going to be a sort of a relaxed slot, make sure you do well, because a minimum of 12 to 15 marks you can get covered in these 2.5 hours. Okay, so once you are done with this, now by 8 o'clock you're done with everything else, and what is left? One head of income is left, that is capital gains, and then you're left with the last part, TDS, TCS, and advanced tax. So by now you have a lot of confidence that you've done good coverage. So now with a lot of, with a calm mind, with a lot of peace in your own heart, you'll start off with at 8 o'clock with your last head of income, which is capital gains. So you've been watching the videos for salaries and PGBP, and same thing you'll be doing even for capital gains. You again have a 4 hours video. You will again watch it in 1.25 hours, in 1.25 speed. You'll finish off the video, and then you'll glance through the questions which you've marked, and you'll work out some of them. So by 12:30 you're done with capital gains also. And what is the only thing we are left with now? The last part, that is TDS, TCS, and advanced tax. So with a lot of satisfaction, we again go back to sleep, and the next day, the day of the examination now. The day of the examination, you start off with TDS and TCS. Yes, I know most of you would have already made your mind up that you're going to be skipping this chapter. But no, guys, you are not going to. These 2 hours, okay, dedicatedly give them to TDS and TCS. Try your best in these 2 hours to fit in as much as possible of these 2 chapters. Please, please do not skip these 2 chapters, because you will be getting a 6 marks question for sure in the descriptive part, and MCQs you will anyways be getting. Okay, so 6 to 8, these 2 hours, do TDS and TCS properly as much as you can fit in, with little extra importance to section 194Q, section 194N, cash withdrawals, and TCS 206C 1H, a little extra importance to them. Also have a look at the TDS TCS return filing due date. Also have a look at the interest rates. What if you do not deduct tax on time, or what if you deducted tax but did not remit on time? Have a look at those interest calculations as well. Okay, so that is what you're going to be finishing off on the day of the examination in the morning, and then 8 to 9:30 you will finish off advanced tax and assessment procedures. These 3 chapters, TDS, TCS, advanced tax and assessment procedures, put together a minimum, I'm saying minimum of 12 marks you can expect. TDS and TCS, advanced tax and assessment procedures, everything put together, a minimum of 12 marks. You're understanding? Now, why have I put them on the day of the examination? There are 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is that these chapters have a lot for us to remember, a lot for us to memorize. The TDS rates, section numbers, amounts, we have a lot of things to memorize over here. So if we've done them just on the day of the examination in the morning, for sure we'll remember collect properly during the examination. That is one reason. And the second reason is that if you were to do these chapters somewhere, earlier, when you still have a lot of syllabus to be completed, you will not be doing them with a calm mind. So on the day of the examination, you have nothing else left. You just have these three chapters left. So you will be able to actually give justice to these three chapters. Okay. So that is why I insist, make sure you leave these three chapters for the day of the examination. Once you're done with this at 9:30 to 11, you finish off section 115 BAC, alternate minimum tax, total income questions that you've marked. We have 1.5 hours to finish off all of that. 11 to 12, I've kept it for you to finish off any leftovers if you have. If you've marked some questions in RTPs and MTPs, if any questions are left for you. So whatever you want to do in this 1 hour, make sure you prioritize and make use of it. And then finally, 12 to 1, you give a last revision to GST, and then you're done. And then you're done to face the tax paper. You're ready to face your tax paper. Okay, you've again put in the best that you can in these 1.5 days. Now, when you walk into the examination hall, you will again walk in with confidence. Okay, do not panic. Yes, there may be a possibility that you weren't able to finish a particular chapter. Yes, there may be a possibility that you wished you could have done things better, but you couldn't. There may be a possibility, but do not panic, because these 1.5 days are just polishing all the hard work that you've already done, and all that knowledge is in your mind. It will strike you at the right moment. Okay, so walk in the examination hall with confidence. Do not panic. Okay, walk in with a calm mind, walk in confidently. Keep telling yourself that you will be able to ace this paper really well. When you see the examination question paper, when you look at the total income question, it might baffle you. There might be one adjustment which is tricky. There might be another adjustment which you have no idea what to do. If that happens, do not panic. Know that one adjustment will carry only some marks. So if I still do the rest of the question properly, I will still get good enough marks, and that's okay. All right. So try your best to stay as calm as you can. Those 3 hours are important. Do not panic and spoil those 3 hours. Okay. Those 3 hours do not, like how I told you, even for law paper, be a robot in those 3 hours and just read the question paper and identify your best two questions. Start with those two questions, then do MCQs somewhere in between, and then do the rest of the paper. Okay, if you see one difficult question, if you see one difficult adjustment, do not panic. Know that even if one question doesn't go perfectly correct, I'll still get step marks, right? So that is good enough. So you do not have to aim to have a perfect answer. Instead, make sure you do all your steps properly, so that at least step marks will add up to a nice fancy score. Okay, so don't panic. Keep doing the best that you can. You're almost there, guys. I'll see you once you're done with all these examinations, and then we'll celebrate all this hard work that we've put in. Okay, so go kill it in these 1.5 days. Do the best that you can. All right. I'll keep sharing small revisionary points now and then in our Telegram channel. I hope you're there. And in case you have any doubts, in case you want to reach out, in case you're worried, know that you can always WhatsApp me. I'm available for you. Okay. All the very best, guys. Bye bye.